So I started to get this thing together. I got the brass freeze plugs in. I got the new main bearings in. Crank all cleaned up. Got the cam bearings installed. Got the cam in. It's looking pretty good. Oil filter adapter, got it on there. Got all new plugs in the block. So tomorrow I'll be cleaning these pistons up. They're going to get re-ringed. It's just a 30 over hyper-eutectic small 1/8 inch dome, and these have been fly cut because I do run these in I ran these in another 355 with a big solid roller cam. So luckily that's already been done, and I have my pistons drilled for oiling, and I'm gonna put some ARP rod bolts in this. It's held up to 8,000 RPM so far, but I want to crank this one pretty hard. I want to be able to see 8 grand all day every day and not have a worry. So got everything torqued down. Crank turns over nice and free, and the cam's the same way. So I'll get my double roller timing chain on there, cam plate. I'll get the pistons in, and first I'll have to get a measurement to see what length push rods I need. And I did buy a fuel pump block off plate, so waiting for that to show up. I'll clean these cylinders up, get all the dust out of them, and we'll start getting this thing together. I am going to dyno this, and I do want to show you what I picked up for it. Like I said, I got some kind of big plans for it, somewhat big. Turn that down. But I picked up a set of aluminum heads for this. These are a 23-degree conventional head, Dart Pro 1s, 215cc. They have not been cut on. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check, I'm going to pull one of my springs off, check my installed height, and see where my coil bind will be. And I'm gonna mill these heads a little bit. They're a 72cc combustion chamber. I'm gonna mill them probably 21 thousandths. For every 7th thou, it's 1 cc. So at least get those down to a 69 cc. So got some nice aluminum heads for this thing. It's a 355 cubic inch. This thing should make right around 530 horsepower, 525, depending on what the carburetor is. I make just over 1.5 horsepower per cubic inch on these builds. So I got a new pan gasket, new pan. There's my ARP bolts, milling, 55 HV high volume pump. I got guide plates, 7/16 screw in studs. There's the Velcro head gaskets, and Engine Tech Molly rings. It's a Speedmaster 2-piece aluminum timing cover, and then a billet retrofit roller, solid roller. There's my cam plate, locking plate, and my old pickup tube. So I have a lot of the parts. I'm going to get this thing on the engine stand, and we'll get it ready to start throwing some pistons in it. We'll show you that next. Alright, I got this thing on an engine stand, and I've been file fitting piston rings. So I got all my rings in the block, they're file fit. I do have a video of file fitting piston rings for a blower, turbo, nitrous application, whatever it may be. I do have a video of that. I'll put the link in the description. But I got this far, and I went ahead. I did get my pistons cleaned up. I did have one ring land that was a little bit tight, so you definitely you want to be careful and double check everything when you're doing these. And then I got my ARP rod bolts in, so I'm ready for some new rings. We'll put some rings on this thing, get some pistons in it, and we're getting close. So like I said, I'm going to dyno this thing. We pretty much know what it's going to make horsepower wise, but that's not why we're going to do it. The reason we dyno these is because we want to make sure the carb and the fuel curve and everything is where it should be. So that's the plan. I'll probably rob a carburetor off of a couple things, and we'll check each one, different sizes, see what it likes. But we got this far, so now it's time for some pistons. Alright, so I got my pistons in. All my rings are on. Everything's file fit. Next thing is I got to degree the cam. We'll have to probably drill this guy out here, right here, and get that cam in where it should be. But want to show you an update. Here we are. We got pistons in it. Get that cam degreed. We'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, so my intake come in today from Summit. What I went ahead and got was a Wyant Team G 7532 is the number. Let's take a look at it. It's packaged nicely. Better be. So yeah, that's pretty sharp. New, clean. This thing will make horsepower anywhere from 2800 to 7800. So we'll be turning it pretty high. Should like it. They're a nice intake. I like Team G. They're a good running intake for sure. So next piece of the puzzle, I'll get my heads on, and we'll get the intake on and be able to get moving forward on this thing. Alright, so I got my cam degreed, everything in, and then my piston is 170 thou below deck. Have a 327 3¼ inch stroke crank in this thing, so that's no good. So what I did, I went ahead and I ordered a new crank, and that just showed up. So we're putting an Eagle crank in this thing. I'm going to tear it back down and put that crank in so I can get everything else put on. Heads are ready, intake's there. We're getting closer. Right, I have the new crank in. It's in. Got my piston to deck, a lot closer to where I was trying to be. And then got my heads on. They're all bolted down. I went ahead with some Urson head bolts. Got some, no, I believe these are comp guide plates. Picked up a set of the longer screw-in studs because I was running out of room up here. So I'm going to put those in. Got some Trick Flow 8350 push rods, 550 long. And we're going to run some lash caps on this as well from Comp Cams. So hopefully I can rock and roll in this thing today. And this thing is getting close to being done. And then it's off to the dyno. And I need to get my nitrous bottle filled because I am going to spray this engine. We're going to spray the shit out of it. And hopefully we're going to make some good numbers on the dyno, which I'm not real pressed on how much power it makes. I just want to get everything tuned and where it needs to be. So here we are with this thing right now. Hopefully I'll be showing you a video on the dyno here soon. But let's get this thing back together, and then we'll worry about the dyno. Alright, so I got my intake on there, rocker arms, push rods, everything's fastened down. Like I said, I got those lash caps in there, as you can see. I did have to back cut these rockers for these springs, and I got my pan on and front pulley, which I won't need for the dyno, but this is basically it. I'm gonna slap the valve covers on there. I got Felpro gaskets. So this is what I'm putting on here. And here. One, can't show you yet. Alright. That looks a lot better. I went with the fabricated aluminum. I didn't want the polished. They get smudged and you end up wiping them down and then they get all scratched anyway. So this is the fabricated aluminum versus the old rib style. The ribs are polished. But what do you like better? You have to let me know down in the comments. What valve cover style do you prefer? I think that the fabricated aluminum valve cover gives it a more aggressive, racy look, where this is kind of taking it to a car show. You know, it's completely different look. So let me know what you guys think there. But I'm ready for possibly the dyno. I have the carburetor. I'm going to rob this carburetor off for now, since they're similar builds, similar cam profiles. And then that one will be pretty much ready to go for the most part NA when it comes back, and I'll know exactly what I'll need for this engine as well. So, alright guys, let me know what you think. And we'll catch you on the next one.